Now then, it's been a momentous time for David Tennant since deciding to hand over the TARDIS to a new Doctor. He's been regenerated in Hollywood, though the pilot there didn't make it as a series. He's been a great stage hit in Hamlet, and he's now starring in a new television drama beginning tonight, Single Father. It's the story of a Glasgow photographer whose wife is killed in a road accident and has to bring up the children. Well, it's witty, but it punches you pretty hard in the stomach too. I'm going to be talking to David Tennant in a moment, but first, here is just a little taster of it.
Come on, come sit down. I want to show you something.
Dad, what are we doing?
Right. Who remembers this? Who remembers what your mummy just said?
I do. She said thank you to Paul because he made the cake.
Very good. You're good at this. But what did she say next?
What does she say next?
You'll find out tonight.
All right, all right. Well, I have been able to watch this, and it's incredibly. I found it very difficult to watch. Actually, I was blubbing away.
Yeah.
I don't like. It's hard. This stuff, isn't it? I mean, it's funny, but it's got a very, very hard edge.
I think well, what occurred to me when I read it for the first time was just how overpoweringly real it is. Really, just this idea of family life and just rupturing that down the middle, and sort of what happens next just felt. I think it is very sad, but it also manages to be quite unsentimental. I think in quite a surprising way. I think it's a beautiful script.
And it's a script which, as we saw just now, involves you interacting very, very closely with the children.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering how you approach that, because you have to have the sort of natural intimacy with them that a real father might have, and you presumably you need a certain amount of preparation for that.
Yeah, I mean, we were blessed by the fact that the kids we got are fantastic and very natural and very easy and very talented. So that obviously is the starting point, and that helped. And then we just spent as much time as possible before we started filming just kind of hanging out. We went bowling and we kind of played games, and we just got to know each other as best as possible. And it was also filmed very cleverly. The director, Sam Miller, was very keen to allow it to feel free and real. So it shot, the cameras were quite far away, and close-ups were kind of snatched without anyone knowing it was happening. And so it had a kind of free spirit to it. There's a bit of improvisation in there, there's a bit of...
A lot of people, you say it's very realistic, a lot of people will be watching it and thinking, well, freelance photographer and a primary school assistant teacher who can afford a house like that, I'm moving to Glasgow right away.
Well, he's a very good freelance photographer,
Okay,
though. He does some very flash campaigns, yeah.
Now, the sort of post-Doctor Who period is clearly always a difficult one. Some of your predecessors have said it was the worst time of their lives, and they felt lost, and they didn't know what to do, and all the rest of it.
Oh, I've had a great time.
were you conscious, though, when you finished Doctor Who, that this was going to be an interesting, a year that you really had to think carefully about where your career was going after that?
I probably should have been. I'm never very good at thinking tactically. I just kind of thunder into the next thing, really. So I suppose what I wasn't sure about was how, because Doctor Who had been such a huge, all-consuming part of life, and it did enter every corner of your life and take over your life in a way that acting jobs rarely do, I think.
Yes.
I wasn't sure how much of a mourning process there'd be. But actually, it's been fantastic. I've enjoyed it, and I've really found that Doctor Who created more opportunities than it closed off, I think.
Yeah. I remember talking to you before you did it.
Yeah.
And you'd gone with your girlfriend, I think, to Glastonbury. So one of the rock festivals, or you were going to.
Glastonbury,
And you were saying, this is the last time I will ever be able to do that.
Yes.
And that was true, was it?
I was right.
You were right. It changed,
even that one was
everything.
a bit trickier than I'd anticipated it was going to be. Yeah, it does. It changes your life, because it's a show that has a reach and an enthusiasm of support that is... Yeah. It's pretty ubiquitous.
Yeah. Tell us about Hollywood, because you went there, you did a pilot, didn't become a series.
Yes.
What was the experience like? I mean, it must have been a totally different, more carnivorous world, perhaps, than London.
It's different, yes. It's a different world. I mean, it's still full of very talented people doing lots of interesting things. There's a cutthroat nature to the way things work out there, which can be a little alarming at times. But yes, it's interesting to dip a toe I've just been there. I've just done a film for DreamWorks, actually, and that was, again, was a very different experience. There's a whole range of work out there, which is, it's lovely to be able to key into that.
Yeah. We were talking earlier on about, apparently in the 70s, there was a proposal for a female Doctor Who. Did you see that?
Do you know, I did. I saw you talking about that. I'm not sure that that's actually as true as it's reported. I'm pretty certain that in the 80s, when Tom Baker was resigning, he made that up at a press conference to wind the press up.
Really?
Which he did rather successfully, because that story gets recycled every few months.
Oh, well.
I mean, not that it couldn't and perhaps shouldn't happen, but I don't know that it's ever been a real intention.
Now, Hamlet.
Yes.
Because that was I suspect that might have been, in terms of the doing of the job, your high point of the last year, being on stage with Hamlet, and then it was, of course, filmed and shown on television.
Certainly one of the toughest things I've ever done, but one of the most rewarding too,
Because it's also a very long role, isn't it? I mean,
it's
in terms of what you have to memorise.
There's a lot of it, and you know, you start that kind of 3.5 hour journey at 7:15, and it's like it's a bit of a mountain every night,
Yeah,
but wonderful.
And hugely energetic. I mean, I remember you playing it in a sort of, if I may say so, almost demented fashion. Of course, he's almost demented.
Well, well, I mean, the antic disposition is fairly charged, certainly halfway through. Yeah, but it's just, I mean, you start in the kind of depths of grief, and it kind of gets worse for poor old Hamlet, really. So it's, but it's a wonderful thing to have done. I'm so pleased. I don't know that I ever need to do it again, but I'm very glad to have been there.
Well, antic disposition, thank you very much indeed, David.
Thank you very much.
Right then, we've got a little clip, I think, of you being antic, have we?
Have we?
Oh, good. Excellent. Some antic disposition.
And now I'll do it! And so he goes to heaven. And so am I revenged. That would be scanned. The villain kills my father, and for that I, his sole son, to this same villain sent to heaven? Oh, this is hire and salary, not revenge.